to the DST show, where we show how to kill ourselves watching Friday Night Smackdown on Fox. The only difference is it's on Fox. Another difference, it sucks worse than any SmackDown Live episode from 2018, because at least it had more than one good wrestling match. This show had mediocre wrestling and two good babyface promos that I can give it credit for, because Daniel Bryan can always play the babyface, even though he plays a more likable heel, and Jeff Hardy had a more justifiable promo with basic means. I heard in other videos that probably it was Sami Zayn that sabotaged and attacked Jeff Hardy. Didn't know why they're putting him into a storyline after he just vacated the Intercontinental Championship, so it's plausible that they're just going to be framing Sheamus for this so they can do a feud. Jeff Hardy had a basic promo better than he did when he had to face off against Sheamus one-on-one for the tournament. This was literally the most passive ability I can give SmackDown for. It ended up in an alright brawl. Came up to an axe handle. The fight started to fly off as soon as Sheamus literally called Jeff Hardy a junkie. So I gotta give him credit where credit was due. It was personal. It was insulting. It was way better than the feud than he had with Samoa Joe. So I'm gonna respect the feud. Other than that, we also had women's action. We had Sonya Deville against Lacey Evans. I mean, we also had freaking Otis versus Baron Corbin for no minimal reason. Corbin isn't like, I'm going to challenge you for the Money in the Bank briefcase. I want a shot for the world title because it's been like 3 weeks by now, or because Otis is the belovable babyface with pretty much the opportunity that everybody wants. The top heel, attainably the top heel on SmackDown does not want the Money in the Bank briefcase. They ended up having a match. It was quicker than possible. That ended in DQ. Nobody else cared. At least the Lacey Evans and Sonya Deville match had a conclusion with, of course, Mandy Rose still being the distraction. I'm not going to give it that much credit. Is it supposed to be? Because the match sucked, with a couple of bright spots being a bicycle knee and a bicycle kick. Lacey Evans trying to do an axe kick that completely fell overboard. The match got sluggish until we actually had some sort of interaction, because just Sonya Deville wrestling in general, she can barely tell much of a story. I mean, the last time I saw an interesting match with her, it was against Mandy Rose, but I thought they could have just saved that match for Backlash. And plus, they already had a mixed tag team match on Raw, on SmackDown, just like 2 weeks prior. So it's like, nobody's willing to see another match involving Lacey Evans and Sonya Deville. It's not building up any type of, traction. We also have new women's tag champions by Bayley and Sasha Banks after beating Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross. The match was fine as I can give it. At least it was a borderline wrestling match and just a weird impromptu match. It wasn't like it's going to end in a DQ and then we have a one-on-one match. Or like Naomi. Somehow we forgot that we have more women wrestlers. And most of them don't even have backstage segments. Where has been Carmella and Dana Brooke has been, even though I have disagreements, at least they're part of the show. And they should be more featured into the show so they can have more of a surprising role. Like, not at all. They didn't even try to tell more stories with the women's division. All there is just Sasha and Bayley and whatever the hell they're going to do with Mandy and Sonya. Did anybody forget that Dana and Carmella were supposed to be gunning for the tag team titles in their SmackDown superstars? It was kind of weird in that segment. I thought it was completely dumb. The match, it had some meteors, a toss to the ring post, Bayley to belly, Bayley mocking her own move. It was okay. It was perfectly fine. The match was fun. I'll give it that. The match was fine. The match was confined. I didn't tell much of what was going. It was telling what of a story would be just fucking her own old babyface material. This was like the main event of Smackdown, guys. I do not care. I'm sure I could just watch this in full view, but I'm not reviewing this in order for just myself. The the match ended off a surprise roll up for the pin after a chain off a crucifix with Nikki Cross, and Sasha Banks picks up the win for Bayley and Sasha now becoming two-time women's tag team champions that were also Nikki Cross and Alexa Bliss. And I think the Kabuki Warriors, but who's counting at this point? The women's tag division is irrelevant as irrelevant as Maven making a comeback in his career in 2020. And the guy hasn't been seen on TV since 2004. Or I think early 2005. I don't think he was in the Royal Rumble of that year, 2005. And he was put up in a lot of major storylines. We also had these segments involving Braun Strowman and Miz and Morrison for some damn reason. I don't know which. He was pranked with a protein shake. He was pranked with his car messed up, and of course, the interviewer getting slimed on top of her head while it was supposed to be on Braun. What parts of this legitimize a champion? What part of this makes the Universal title feel like it's a legit title that you could take seriously? Now, if this was a normal mid-card feud, this would be somewhat passable, but still corny. This is corny to a Teague, where it's supposed to be two men that are supposed to be on the same page, facing off against the world champion. It's a week from now. It's like The Miz, a former WWE champion. Like, they don't do any type of confliction there. This is the same guy who made at least the Intercontinental title, that is literally the only singles belt at the time, be, relevant to some aspect. And John Morrison never was the world champion in his career, so probably we don't count the ECW title. It's just really bad, and it's so corny, and it's so PG to a T that it makes fans obviously stop watching the product. This is why WWE is declining on the viewership, to denounce the intelligence and, of course, the, sincerity of their product, and especially the sincerity of making a world title under a decade in its life cycle. We had no guys actually feel like they're making the title relevant, because they don't give it on anybody legit. They give it on part-timers and lower or higher mid-carders that are obviously not taken seriously for the right reason. And I'm not being disrespectful to Kevin Owens or The Fiend. They beat dudes, but not always in legitimate fashion. Or they be put strong, or they get in these BS finishes. I.e., both of these guys, Kevin Owens and The Fiend, both losing to a 50-year-old Goldberg. That's just my opinion. We, of course, had Daniel Bryan having a bit of words with AJ Styles. I thought it was a pretty good back and forth. We also had a segment with Chad Gable being so-called bullied with Cesaro, and Mojo Rawley mocking his height. At least there was one good match to be put out of this. It was Gulak and AJ Styles. And I thought he was manually released from the company. I literally did a video on this just weeks ago. It's like they're trying to get rid of everybody. They're trying to get rid of the talent that's getting decent TV time. And it's like, why would you just transition this to a match to begin with if you're just going to release him? He was in the Battle Royal for a spot for the Intercontinental title tournament. And here he is just pinning AJ one-on-one. And they said this was going to be a detrimental win. This is going to loss. This is supposed to affect AJ Styles, even though he was pinned by James Ellsworth when he was WWE champion. I like the handout motif. It's literally a tiny bit of a callback to when AJ pretty much was saying that you don't get a trophy for being a loser. You get a trophy for being a winner. I thought that was a cool back and forth, and Daniel Bryan giving, of course, his passable attempt for a babyface promo. And then we had Gulak versus Styles, was literally the best match of the show. Constant dragon screws, moonsault into a reverse DDT. drop kick, you obviously know the Pele kick. Good calls by Corey Graves. That's literally the most I'm going to give Corey Graves credit for out of his meteoric rise on the main roster for commentary. And I'm not trying to be rude, I just feel like that's how it's been for the last several months, or just a few years he's been on the main roster commentating since he's been on NXT. Other than that, we did have a 6-man tag involving the New Day with Shorty G, I hate calling him that, facing off against Shinsuke Nakamura, Mojo Rawley, that had a good spot when he pounced on Kofi Kingston in the 6-man tag outside of the ring. A top gun hello from the plancha from over the top rope. Yeah, I'm sick of doing that. Some kind of vertical suplex from the top. Somehow, I think there was an exploder it was a fisherman suplex. No, it was like still a vertical suplex, but Michael Cole wanted to call it a fisherman. I think it was completely botched in that aspect in the middle of the match. Do I feel like this match could have been better? Absolutely. Did this tell much of a story for Chad Gable in his own right? No. For God's sakes, no. They already tried to treat him like a pseudo benefacto babyface. BS that they've been trying to do since he became a singles act. Even though he has no other characteristics other than he's an Olympian. He's been part of some successful teams with Robert Roode and, of course, Jason Jordan from NXT. Sure, he didn't go short. He wasn't that successful with Shelton Benjamin, and he had some good highlighted moments on the King of the Ring tournament just last year. And they don't bring any of that up like he's an up-and-coming star with a short size. It's like, there's plenty of other guys that are like goddamn Shorty G's height, and they try to play this forcible underdog phase, trying to give him this BS babyface undersized remark, even though he was getting major heat. That's why even Apollo Crews, that looks like the most tolerant guy in the goddamn back, like saying, cut the BS, I don't need a tag team partner. He's that intolerant to be around. And you're telling me now that they're still trying to make him this forcible babyface that even the New Day likes him, even though Apollo Crews that literally smiles at everything, somehow he doesn't like him? That I think there's something really wrong with that. Other than that, SmackDown was really poor. I'm gonna just say it out loud. The SmackDown was really crap. It was mediocre with only one good match, a passable 6-man tag, a women's division that looks completely slept over, and a world champion that's put up in this lower mid-card feud. It's literally the equivalent when when Kofi Kingston was world champion, but at least Kofi Kingston had a legit feud that actually went personal at times. I don't have much bad storylines to compare it with, other than Kevin Owens when he was Universal Champion, to at least make it Universal title related, because you had like a good upper mid carder like Kevin Owens, but he comes around losing to at least the top guys in the company. He's facing off against mid carders that should be main eventers, and they have to do this corny shit like this. It ended up with Braun Strowman flipping a van, and it doesn't even feel that cool, because at least Braun, back when he was doing that shit to Roman Reigns, when he flipped over Vince McMahon's limo, he did it for legitimate reasons, and it felt like he was threatening. He's doing this crap just because these guys keep pranking me. Freaking jerks. And that just feels terrible. Who's going to... I understand they're PG. It's still BS that you make this equivalent excuse. You can watch Codename Kid Next Door, and they make the children as badass. And they're legit children making makeshift guns out of condiments. And I still make that more... And that sounds more intimidating than literally like a 6 foot... near 7 foot man that can literally flip over a vehicle. And you make him feel the most corniest guy in the main roster. And he's your world champion since Mania. I don't understand that. That's completely dumb. But how you feeling? Please type it down in the comment section. How you feel about this? How you felt about this Smackdown? I obviously feel like the worst part is, of course, Bayley's face that looks like a dyke, and Otis that still looks autistic, and of course, the illegitimacy of the world title. But that's just me. That's just me. Might not be you, because it's your taste. I'm not denounce you for not watching the show, but I mean for liking the show. It's your taste, what you want. I'm never going to judge what you like. But please comment down below. I want to hear your opinion, though. How you felt about Friday Night SmackDown. This is from the DST show. Like, comment, subscribe to help me get to 30.